Welcome to Unwanted Football Opinions, and this is the last one of our Let's Talk series, at least the last one that we have planned. And we'll be covering AC Milan today, with obviously a special emphasis on the man himself, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And let's get down to it. So, in the format that we always have, let's talk about their past performances and see how they have been doing so far. Jittu, would you like to go over that, or should I do the honor?
Yeah, I think yes. AC Milan have got to their best start in almost 10 years, I guess, almost ten
Yeah,
years.
at least since the last 6 7 years, definitely, since I have started like following other leagues too.
Yeah, since 2011, I think last time they won the league. That is so long back. That this is the best start since that, and they're still. I think they're the other than Sassuolo. I think they are the only unbeaten team. That too, they
Yeah,
drew only one game last game.
yeah, their last game was the draw, and they're on top of the
And
league
so
comfortably with 2 points. So
And above that, excluding the last two games, all other games they got clean sheets also. So basically, they only considered 4 goals in the process till now. So and nobody expected this actually. Nobody expected this. People thought the last season's that second half form would draw out and it will be poor again. But they just started where they left off. And if they're able to continue this, we might it's a possibility we might see given Juventus are in horrible form right now. They haven't managed to win a single game, to be honest, because the only 3 points they got are from that awarded because Napoli didn't show up for the game.
yeah, exactly. So it was basically a walkover, and that's the only thing that they've got.
Only
Let's
three
not,
points they
yeah, let's not go into Juventus and that whole thing at all. But yeah, Pirlo has been a little off color, but let's not just go into that at all. So
yeah.
their past performances, at least let's talk from since the return from the lockdown, they have actually
Yeah,
not put a foot wrong in my opinion. But again, it's only my
very
opinion.
true.
And like they did make a very powerful comeback from whatever position they were in to finish in a Europa League spot, if I'm not wrong. And
Yeah, they
they,
were out. They were first half. They were out. Like nobody expected them to even reach top seven or top eight because that horrible start they got. And the big part is that almost all their wins in the second half came against big teams. They beat Juventus of all people, and they put up a good fight with Inter also. Like all big teams, they had to beat to finish in sixth. That is the highlight of that last season.
and their last game, they bet their other team, the team which they share their stadium with. And I'm not going to say it was convincing or brilliant or anything of that sort, but it was a win all the same. And our man Zlatan with his brace again. Like
Yeah.
last season, he said when the season was coming to a close that if I was there, we would have won the Scudetto. And
The
looks like he's living
irony
up to
is
his
that
word. Sorry?
Milan last won the Scudetto when Zlatan was still playing for Milan. Do you know that? I just checked it up now and I saw this. Yeah, so the last time Milan won the Scudetto was when Zlatan was playing for them. Then we know what happened. PSG came in. They bought took all those players out. I think many of those Milan players they took off. At their begin from there onwards, it is just a sinking ship. They just went down to a point in which they couldn't even qualify for the Europa League, and they used to get knocked out. Like I think 2 seasons or something, they were getting knocked out of the Europa League group stage and all.
Yeah, yeah. And like it is actually very I feel very happy somewhere deep inside knowing that a club of that quality is coming back. Finally, they're making a comeback, and I think it's in some way it gives me hope for teams like Barcelona, United, and stuff like that. Because if AC Milan can do it, like AC Milan, according to me, they were
They were
completely written off. Completely written off. Nobody is like Milan
yeah,
is like they're like done. That
they're
team is
just
done.
history.
Yeah, it's like
They were
Jittu said, they're just
comparing like
history.
whenever a team goes down, they were
But
comparing them
look
to
at the way
Milan.
they've come back. I'm not saying I know it's still too early to say that yeah they're back well and truly. the period of domination is going to start. But these are signs of a definite rebuild, a definite comeback from whatever place they were in. And like they have had such brilliant players, like let's say Kaka, this guy Zlatan before he moved on to Juventus, and that's like, so we are here primarily to talk about Zlatan, and let's talk about him. AC Milan, yeah. So we'll sum up the whole AC Milan story in one line. They were bad and now they're getting good, and that's a good sign, and it gives hope for other teams who are on a rebuild. So moving on to Zlatan. This guy, I don't know how we can put him in words. And like, I honestly, I know that he makes big statements. I know it seems like he has a very bad attitude, calling himself God and brilliant, and in his own words, he just magnifies himself. But the thing is, he also backs up his claims. Like if he says, "I'm going to do this," he does that. Even at 39, he's scoring goals. And like Jittu keeps pointing out in episode after episode, even though he's becoming old, yes, he has become slow, all of that, he still has that wisdom to use the younger players around him to make it convenient for him to score those goals, for him to get those results. And that shows you what a brilliant sports person he is, and what a great mind he has, and why that is very important for an athlete. And this is just the intro, so Jittu, you can take it away from here.
So, Zlatan, like I just looked at up his stats, and this season for a 39-year-old, he has scored a goal in every single match almost. You can say, like he played 6 games this season, and he scored 7 goals and 1 assist also. And from that, you could say like, yeah, he scored some penalties as well, but all those penalties he himself got because he made runs into the box, and he made the defenders foul him. So he worked it out. And last game I saw something even more crazy. Like he's still having legs to chase the defender, like chase the goalkeeper around, and he's not giving up. He's definitely not giving up. It is very unbelievable to see a 39-year-old do this, and having him in the starting 11 gives another level of confidence. Like even if he is benched also, like he regularly has this team talks with the younger players. Have bear in mind, because Milan squad is the youngest squad in their history, I think, because this squad is just 20, the average age of squad is 22 years. So Zlatan is like the most senior person in the team, and he literally, yeah, he is the one who guides him. So yeah, some people might have issues with the way he speaks, but he backs it up also, and he is a commanding figure in the pitch. And I don't think, like if he was not there in the team, they, like even though the lot of the players in Milan had those potential in them, like they could not be able to show it up. Like the courage he gives to them, like you can do it. Like he, if a guy just like he's confident in what he's doing also. So maybe you don't know, like maybe he could even end up bringing the Scudetto to Milan after so long, and like 9 years or something.
And on a whole different this thing, Zlatan is also known for his controversies on and off field, how he just, what should I say, brushes people aside, just like shoves people aside with his words, how he just picks them up and throws them away. But he has a superstar mentality, and he backs that up with his results. And for a person who I thought, a person moving on to MLS, going to an MLS club,
Yeah.
that's generally, I don't mean any disrespect to anyone playing in the MLS or anyone who likes MLS football, but generally when a person goes to the MLS, it's basically a glorified retirement home, according to me. So I thought he went there and it's like, yeah, we are done. Zlatan is done. It was a good career. He was brilliant. He's great. He's going to play maybe 1 or 2 years in MLS and call it quits. And guess what happens? He plays, I think, 1 or 2 seasons in MLS, and then he moves back to play in the Serie A. And that is no joke. You move on from playing in a league. I'm not going to say MLS is not competitive at all, and that Serie A is very competitive or whatever, but from moving on to a place where you are easily, I can say, the best in that whole league, to coming in a league where there will be active competition, not only for you in the league, but also for you in the team. In the team in specific, I want to mention, because it's not like everyone else is going to be put aside just because Zlatan is there. And like the thing is, he's still proving that he can compete with the younger people for chances for playing, and that is just brilliant in my opinion. Like seriously brilliant. At 39, he's competing with players like I don't know half his age or something, and he also gets into the starting 11. And if he's not starting, most often he also gets subbed into the game and he makes a difference. And like I cannot even comprehend a person doing that. Ronaldo, I understand, is 35. I don't know how many more years he has got into it. Messi is 33. But I definitely don't see either of them playing all the way up till 39 at this level. Definitely not at this level. Maybe they can play at 39 and maybe some South American league. I'm not saying South American leagues are bad. Or like any small league, or maybe something like an ISL or something. That's a dream, but like I'm pretty sure neither of them can play at 39 at this level and still compete on that level and bring results consistently home, and that is brilliant. And like he was bought to Barcelona in a high profile move, and then he realized that he's no longer the ace, no longer the star, and he actually moved on. And kudos to that, because he knows his status, he knows his level, and he knows he's not meant to play second fiddler around anyone. And he backed himself up, and there was no turning back. He's always moved on, club after club. It didn't work at United, he moved on. And MLS, he thought was slightly beneath him, he moved on. Like that is like I don't know. I just can't stop talking about the greatness of this person. And he famously said, I don't know, in 2000 something, when Arsene Wenger wanted him to come for a trial at Arsenal, he's like, Zlatan doesn't do auditions. That is easily among the most iconic dialogues of all time, not just in football,
I
like
think
of all
everyone
time
will
in
remember
everything.
that.
Like
You know,
he was not even like a guaranteed first team player at what he was not even at Ajax at that time. I think he was at Malmo still. He didn't even make a move to like the big leagues. And he already had the guts at that time to say, I don't do auditions to a team as big as Arsenal. And
yeah.
he went on to Ajax and then he moved on from there on, and the rest is history. Anything else you would like to add on, Jitu?
I think not much. Like, it's very weird. Like, you can never expect a player to come out of suppose MLS. MLS, no disrespect. Like most of the players in Europe go there for retirement and like to build a brand or something. Like most of them go like that. But he went there, then he came back not to a small league. Syria is among the top five leagues in Europe, and to play for not he chose a team. He could have, I think, like maybe he could have chosen a team. He could have gone to PSG back, or he could have gone to a team which would have maybe like challenge a title. Like he could have gone to maybe the Portuguese league and he could have joined Porto or Benfica or whatever. Like you could like it guarantees, but he went for the challenge. He went for the challenge that is Milan, and getting Milan to what there is now, I think hands out, it's like brilliant. Like he made this statement like when Ronaldo moved to Juventus, he just made like that statement is very famous now. So he just told like this: if Ronaldo wanted a challenge, why the hell did he move to Juventus? Because Juventus keeps on winning the Scudetto almost every year. He should have gone to a mid-table team and he should have took them to glory. That is a challenge. And he himself is doing that. He is back in like, and you can't ask him because he's not doing that, because he is doing that right now. He took Milan last season. They was deemed to be in 10th place or something. Everyone ruled them out, and he took them above Napoli. Napoli, which was a strong side, they took them above Napoli, and they finished in sixth. That too, I think, dramatic last day win or something that took them above. So I think he is a guy. Yeah, you can say he hasn't won a UCL. He hasn't won as much like the two goats have did. Messi and Ronaldo have
But
done
he
in their
still
career.
has 31 trophies. That's what Wikipedia tells me. So 31
Yeah,
trophies. I have it all in my notes here. That is, it's
and
among the highest of any
his best
player active. Definitely among the highest for any player active. I think Danny Alves
and
is the highest one, but
Danny Alves 41 or something, I think so.
yeah. So yeah, you were saying something before I rudely interrupted you.
No, the best part is that his best part of his career came after he was 32 or something. Like until then you didn't notice because his best season came after he was 32 or something. His best season, like when he was with PSG or something, like he scored some 50 plus goals for the club in that season. So yeah, you can understand why he's saying. He just recently made a statement like he compares himself to Benjamin Button. If you guys don't know who is Benjamin Button, is a character in a movie. In his movie, like he's a guy who ages in backwards. So he literally was born like a old person, and he becomes younger as he ages. So yeah, you can understand because we've not seen a dip in form. Like after 30, you see people having a dip, like they're not at their best. Many
Look
players,
at
most of
Messi now. I'm not saying he's
yeah,
past his prime and all, but he's definitely fallen back.
yeah.
Does dribble and all, but I don't know. Like you can see that there is a dip. Go on.
So this is opposite. This guy just keeps on improving. Like you can't say like his last season is this season is better than last season. Same goes like this. It just keeps on increasing. Like it's a weird paradox or something.
And the thing is, like, let's talk about his playing style now.
Yeah.
If you want to see what a striker is, who has not changed his game much, like he adapts per the team and per the situation, but fundamentally his game has not changed for a striker, for an active player in our generation. If you want to watch someone, look at Zlatan. From the day he started, he has been like an out and out striker, a proper finisher, and he's
Yeah.
maintained that throughout. I don't know how many years he's been active. What, 15, 16, 17 years he's been active? Or 20? Like at the highest level, at least it's been close to 16, 17 years active. And that's by no small terms. Like we cannot discount it or put it into words, his contribution to any team that he has gone to. It's been brilliant, and he's always like, people have relied on him being the striker, that person who finishes the chance that they are making for them. And till today, for whatever game he is playing, he does that, and that is brilliant.
Yeah. So we'll shall we like I made a big note of shall we look at the tactics of Milan, like tactics and 11.
Yeah, let's go on.
Yeah, so I made a big note or something. So this Milan team is completely different from what is seen. This is not a traditional Milan team because let's start from the scouting. The scouting, we can say that Milan are looking at a bit like Dortmund, I'd say, because they have shifted their motto from getting more experienced and older players and getting a few seasons out of them. They've shifted from that, and now they're bringing in young players. They have improved their scouting dramatically, and all the signings that they've made and the way they're playing right now is brilliant. I mentioned earlier, like 22.5, I think, is the average age. I think no other side in Syria comes even close to that number. That is not typical. Milan were known for having aged players, old players playing with them, and they understood that that led to their downfall. That led to their downfall because earlier you could see, because they were not replacing their players with younger players, were not backing young players back then, and it led to their downfall because suddenly all these old players retired and they were faced with nothing, nobody to play as well. Yeah.
Yeah, one more factor that led to downfall of teams like Milan, who relied on getting experienced players, was the transfer market started getting inflated.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like, I'm not, no disrespect to any player, but even average or maybe just slightly above average players started going for very big money, in excess
Yeah.
of 60, 70 million. At a time when Ronaldo was the world record signing from Manchester United to Real Madrid for 80, 90 million, was that? And
Yeah,
when
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gareth Bale got 100 million or just above that, it was a world record signing. Two people buying
Yeah,
Neymar
that,
for
I think that's when
222
PSG.
million.
Yeah, that's when PSG and like the downfall of Milan. I think exactly that time you could see there is a rise of City and PSG. So these guys started inflating the market. I think so. That's what.
So, in a market where people are paying in excess of 100 million for, let's say, an above average player or a promising player, not even an established player, getting an established and experienced player was just unthinkable. Imagine if someone wanted to get Messi right now, it's 700 and something million, the release clause. That is ridiculous. Messi was when before Neymar got signed, Messi's was around 100, because that time it was unthinkable people paying 150 million to break the release clause and etc. etc. But now it's a
Yeah.
possibility, and teams like Milan and all who bank on getting established players to move to their side, getting 4 5 years of them winning consistently, and then moving them on and getting other players. It didn't work for them because they were not high earners as such. They didn't have
Yeah.
these huge and deep pockets like these oil rich teams have, like these oil backed teams have, or whatever. Like they don't have that financial backing because it's also a fan run club. If I'm not wrong, is it a fan run club? I'm
They
gonna
were,
cut.
I think, yeah, they were, I think, then they had to switch owners, I think so. They
Yeah,
were.
so
So
they
they
didn't
ended up
have.
because they went bankrupt somewhere in between. So they had to, Chinese guy, I think, I'm not sure, a Chinese guy had to buy them.
Isn't that Inter Milan? But whatever. Let's not go into that.
Yeah, yeah.
Even when owners take over, not everyone is willing to spend money like Roman Abramovich or whoever, or Sheikh Mansour of City. Not every
Yeah.
owner is willing to put money into the team. Instead, most people consider football to be a
Take
business. So they
money.
want
They'll,
money to come from the team, just like it's
yeah.
happening at Valencia. They literally
Yeah,
sold off
yeah,
all
yeah.
their big prospects just so they could make money. So that happens. But so that's, I think that was a major contributor to the way how teams like Milan fell with their aging squad. So we can move on with Jitu's thing.
Yeah. So Milan have transformed this team. Like this team is not a traditional Milan team like that had a great defenders like they'll counter that sort of team. This team is more free. They're more versatile. Like even their front three, they can just exchange with each other. This is becoming like a young brand of football. Like it's fast paced. It's not the slow Italian game anymore. I think what they did is they've adapted to the modern way of playing. I think most of the teams right now play more attacking way of football than defensive way of football. Very few teams you can say use that still, and I think they understood like this is a way to the future, and it's good, like it's very positive thing that they are relying on youngsters and they have improved their scouting system. So it's much like Dortmund, but the difference is that they hold on to their players. So Dortmund usually scouts and later on they might sell them for a hefty price or something. So they Milan, since I think they're a little more they are planned for the future, like they are keep building up the squad and they are keeping these players for the future. And all like good job to Stefano Pioli, their coach, and he was given with nothing like a group of youngsters, and he brought in Zlatan. I think it was very minimal. The cost of the squad is very minimum, and the fact that that second season is like phenomenal, absolutely incredible. And Milan are now on, I think, 20 game unbeaten run since the restart or something. And this season they are yet to be beaten as well, and they have this never lose attitude also. You could see like
Yeah,
that
no
yeah,
one
yeah,
backs them to be like world beaters, and also they don't even have that pressure. So as of now,
yeah,
you can technically call them the underdogs. So
very true.
they can play without the fear of losing and losing out on something big, because no one expects them to win. So now it works in their favor that they're like, yes, people are not going to say that
You're not.
you were of that quality and then you lost. Because as of now, I would be shocked if Bayern lost, but I would not be shocked if AC Milan lost. And I think that's one thing that will work in their favor, because they don't have that pressure of consistently winning every single time and losing out on fans or bearing the brunt of the stock market like United does if they lose or something like that. Go on.
Yeah, that is there. Like it's been a stage. Like there was a time before when if Milan lost, it would cause chaos, like manager change and all. But now it is changed. I think now the fans have accepted it because they know their club has gone down literally very down, and they are willing to accept any good performance. And this is a good step. So even if they lose out, I think regularly getting a top six spot or top five spot, I think that is a big step up since they were struggling in mid table a few seasons back. And even if they don't manage to win the it would be nice to see them win it again. Even if they just miss out, even if they finish outside the top four in the top six, I definitely think they can finish in the top six, even if their fans won't be disappointed because that is a great achievement considering their situation they were in, and they could keep on improving.
Yeah, and one more thing that I have to mention definitely is their coach. He was at Inter before,
Yeah,
and he had a good run, and then something bad happened where he lost some 5 games or something. He had a very bad string at towards the end of the season. They sacked
yeah,
him, and then he went to Fiorentina,
yeah.
and AC Milan had the balls to get a person from Fiorentina and make him their coach. And no disrespect to Fiorentina or
I
whoever
think
follows that team or anything, but
yeah, he
if
has
you're
no
going to
history of
compare,
any trophy. He hasn't won any
exactly,
trophy till now.
if you're going to
Yeah,
compare a team from Milan, any team from Milan, and then put that in comparison, Fiorentina is literally nothing.
yeah.
And the management, whoever owns AC Milan, let me just look that up to see who owns AC Milan so I don't get it wrong again, like I got the Zidane thing wrong.
I think it has. I think it the appointment of Stefano Pioli. I think it has a lot to do with appointing Daniel Maldini. Sorry, Paolo Maldini. I'm very sorry, Paolo Maldini as their. I'm not sure which position. I think
Sporting
he's
director or
sort of
something.
their technical director, something sort of
Yeah,
thing
he's a
like that.
sporting director or something.
Yeah, so he played a big role in bringing to Milan. Even though he has been a good coach, not that world class level or something. He has not got a big trophy cabinet and all, but he has been a good coach, and I think he saw something in him that was needed for this Milan team.
And like, yeah, like you said, AC Milan is now owned by a Chinese company.
Yeah,
Something I just looked that up. So it's good that the owners are trusting their sporting directors and whoever. But yeah, Maldini is a legend, so why would they not trust him? Obviously, but yeah, I think it was working out in their favor. And talking about how they would set up, their coach Pilo. How do you pronounce it?
Stefano Pioli.
Pioli. It
Yeah,
seems so. Stefano Pioli. He's
yeah.
known to favor the 4-2-3-1 or the. He also likes to use like the modern tactics of having the fullbacks play as attacking fullbacks or like wing backs.
Yeah.
So, like you can see that in the way that he's setting up his team and how the and the thing is the thing I have to mention now. I'm cutting myself off, but despite the wingbacks being a part of the attack, their defense has not let up. So imagine the work rate that the wingbacks would put up. You can see that during every game. How much ever they move front and they contribute to the attack, they are always present when there's a threat in their half. So they track back insanely fast and insanely well. And that is a thing that I think more teams should be looking at because many teams are as of now using the attacking fullbacks thing. Like many teams, I think almost every team is using the attacking fullbacks thing, but not all of the fullbacks come back. You can see that in Liverpool, for example. Andy
Yeah.
Robertson and Trent go up a lot, but that leaves gaping holes in the defense. And generally, when Fabinho was there, Fabinho used to come back, and there was a three-man defense then. But AC Milan, I don't, as far as I have seen, I have not watched much of Serie A. I have watched a decent amount, but not much of Serie A. As much as I have watched Serie A, the fullbacks are always there to provide that defensive cover also. So I don't know what their coach is doing, but he's doing a brilliant job in the way he's setting his team up. That the fullbacks are able to contribute to attack, but they're also not losing their basic function of defense. Over.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like they're coming back to diff, and like I know there's just like this life in this team. Like I like watching AC Milan right now. Like it's like how Dortmund used to be a few years back. Like you don't know what is going to happen. Like this is just exciting brand of youngsters that coming. It's full of lively energy or something. And that this is not a typical Milan team. Trust me, this is not a Milan team. A Milan team, they are ultra defensive, and it is a different. You can't compare this to any Milan team that ever existed. This is a completely different thing.
If you want to put that into perspective, imagine how long Paolo Maldini played for. Just imagine how long he played for. That guy was
20,
ridiculous.
20 years or something. I think
He
so. Yeah,
played some
20 years.
650 games or something for AC Milan. 650 games. That's like, let me just open that on Wikipedia to find out how many years he
I'll put
played.
a comparison. Okay, I think he was there when Maradona was still playing, and he played till the debut of Messi, I guess, like when Messi started playing or
Yeah,
something.
he played from
That long,
1984 to 2009 apparently. That's what Wikipedia tells me.
ridiculous,
And that is
ridiculous.
at the senior team. Youth career
Yeah,
from 1978. So 1978 to 2009. That's a good 21 years. So that is what AC Milan were known for. Players used to, and it's not like they were way past their prime also. Maldini was great till he quit playing. So it was not like AC
2000.
Milan did a bad
They
thing
won
by
the
having
Champions League
players.
in 2007, and I think he was some 39 or 38 or something.
Yeah, they got this sweet revenge against Liverpool. I remember that.
Yeah,
Yes, go on, go
yeah.
on.
You were saying something.
Yeah, so like they are a team that trusts in people, and you can see that definite shift in their ideology with the players they're signing. Now, let's just take for example Sandro Tonali. Tonali, I have just watched a little bit of him in real life, but talking about FIFA, the game FIFA, he is supposed to be among the fastest growing talent. So if you have him in your team, he'll get brilliant
I
results
agree.
like returns for investment and all that. Like, and in real life too, Milan are not known to make signings like Sandro Tonali, for example, but they have gone ahead and signed him outright, not even on loan. We'll try him or not. They just signed him because they trust in him, and that change, that shift in ideology is brilliant for a team that, and you can definitely now say that yes, this is a team that is going through a rebuild.
Yeah.
Over.
Yeah, the signing of Tonali as well, and Tonali it's a big move, I think, because a lot of clubs were interested in Juventus, Inter were interested in, and they did. I did never expected him to go to Milan, but I think he was convinced by their plan, like their future plan and what they're deciding to do. And as far as Tonali is concerned, he is supposed to be the next Pirlo or something. He's been compared to that great heights, and he could even surpass him, like if he meets his full potential, like because this guy Pirlo was a great passer of the game. It was brilliant long range. His long range passes are the one of the best you would ever see, and this guy, along with that, he has this extra physical strength. He has better speed and stamina. So you add that to the Pirlo's elegance, his skill, his passing and all, you get a very good player. And yeah, they are not put it straight directly into the first team, but they are still managed to giving him time.
Yeah,
So
they're
he
giving him
plays.
minutes, which is very important
Yeah,
because if you're, you can, we can talk about their shift in ideology by signing younger players, but if you're going to sign younger players and make them going to sit on the bench, that doesn't actually show a shift in this thing. But they're willing to actually give him time and give him time consistently, not like one
yeah,
game in the domestic cup or something. They're actually
yeah,
giving him proper time. Go
yeah.
on.
I think they so I think Milan played 10 games or something, like they managed to at least like start him for 3 games or sub him on at least start 3 games in a this season, in 10 games into the season, and rest of the games at some point he was subbed on also. So he is getting play time, he's getting that exposure. uh, I like to seem like he, for me, he is the biggest talent in Serie A as of now, and a lot of potential in him. Not many people know this guy also. That is because nobody knows this guy. But I'm telling you, he if he reaches his full potential, he'll be one of the best deep line playmakers in the future.
Yes. So I think in closing, what we would like to say is the players to watch out for, the players who are going to be the X factor.
Should I say my 11?
Yeah, I'll just say this.
Yeah.
The X factors for Milan throughout this campaign and maybe early next season also will definitely, obviously, be the man himself, Zlatan, because of his. I can rarely find fault with his finish. You put him a chance, a decent, even a half decent chance, he's sure to score. And when you have a player like that whom you can trust, that is so much pressure off the team. Let's look at someone for who's struggling in the finishing department. Let's say Barcelona, they make chances but they're failing to finish. And United also, till at least the recent past, they were also struggling to finish. And it's not like these teams are bad in creating chances or getting forward. They do get forward, but they're not able to finish. But that is what a clinical striker can do for you. And not to say Haaland, who literally states that he worships Zlatan and Zlatan is his inspiration.
Yeah.
You can see how similar their styles are. So if you want to see a younger version of Zlatan, it's Haaland, and I hope that even Haaland will one day play as long as Zlatan and become among the greatest players of all time. Yep.
That guy is crazy. Okay, we'll do a separate episode on him. Yeah.
Yeah, 11.
So my 11, I think obviously, I think we failed to talk about him. Gigi Donnarumma hailed as the next greatest thing in the goalkeeping terms.
Oh, I completely forgot about him. Donnarumma is Donnarumma.
So he, as a, if you people still don't know, he is just I think under 23 or under 22. He's still that young, and he is a regular starter for AC Milan as well.
He's
So
21, I guess. I am
21 or something.
22, and he's
Yeah.
born. I was born in 1998, so yeah,
I think
1999. Yeah, 21.
he's already passed 100 appearances for Milan. I think so because he's been playing for 4 years now. It looks like he's
182
been
appearances is what Wikipedia tells.
yeah
180.
crazy. He's just 20. Like he's been playing for a long time, and you're surprised at his age. And he's a brilliant keeper. He's like this huge. He's huge. To be
Yes,
honest, and he
I'm
has an
reading all of this from
agility.
Wikipedia. I don't know much about Donnarumma. I just hear that he's
He's this
very good.
huge guy. He's this
Six
huge
feet
guy.
5 inches.
Yeah, he's huge and he has the reflexes of a small keeper also. He's huge and he's fast. That is crazy. Like if he could develop in, he could be one of like a scarier version of Buffon in the future. And
Scarier, huh?
like literally scary. That guy is scary. He'll just break like you combine probably Manuel Neuer's physique and you combine Casillas' agility and you mix that into a person that is you can call this guy, and he's just 21. So he
And
goes in. Yeah, yeah,
I see. I'm not going to comment about his playing style and all because I actually don't know him much. But
yeah,
all credit to Milan because in a world where everyone is looking to buy off goalkeepers and stuff like that, they have
yeah,
managed to keep hold of a talent whom people rate very highly. See, I am telling you, I did not watch the game, but I have read up a lot about all of this for this episode, so I do know him.
yeah.
And the thing that they have not let him go and they have held on to him is an achievement in itself, given how big of a talent he is. And he has been playing since 2015. And 2015 to maybe even the last 2 years, they have not been great. And he stay put there. So convincing him to stay there means that he believes in what Milan is going through, further proving that Milan are definitely on an upward trend and they have something in mind for the future.
So yeah, I'll just I think we did too much in like I'll just round up the defense. So in left back, obviously it is going to be Theo Hernandez, a super player, brilliant player in attacking as well as defending. And second choice in left back would be Diogo Dalot, the loanee from I think he's from Manchester United, I think so. So yeah, yeah, he's a loanee. Left center back, I'd say Alessio Ramagnoli, and you guys might not have heard of most of these names, and these names are epically long, so I'm just putting a shorter format of these names. So Alessio Ramagnoli will be first, and probably Matteo Gabbia will be the second choice. So moving to right center back, it will be Simon Kjaer, and I think Simon Kjaer started almost every single match, and they have not tested their bench yet. And so moving on to right back, again we have Daniel Calabria. He'll be the first choice. And second choice, again, there is Diogo Dalot. So this guy can play in both the wings actually, left and right back. So in center midfielder, then that is the huge, bigger talents I think they have. They have a lot of talents. There is you have this guy called Ismail Benacer. So this guy was ruled out, like he won't reach anywhere, and then Milan took him in, and he's been flourishing in Milan ever since. And there's this guy called Kessie also, and of course we have Sandro Tonali, who is there. Tonali, as of now, Ismail Benacer and Frank Kessie start first. They are given a little bit more performance, but Tonali is getting his minutes. So moving up front, left wing. So left wing is, I think they have abundance of players here. The best of them would be Ante Rebic. I think you guys might have heard of him. So he is the first preference, and they still have lots of players, like even the second and third choices are equally good as him. They have Brahim Diaz, Rafael Leao. Rafael Leao is a very good player. I think you should watch his game. He is an exciting young talent, and he's been tremendous form now also. So, and we have Alexis Salimakers is coming in. So these are the. Other than that, there are plenty of options. I'm just putting up the main options for left wing, because left wing there are a lot of options for them. So moving on to right wing, there's Sami Castillejo, and again Alexis Salimakers. So again, that's what I mentioned earlier, like this versatility of some of these players who can play in both the wings, who can play in variety of positions. So that is also very good in the game, because these guys might be exchanging, like the front three might be exchanging, like the left winger might be playing in right. It will confuse the defenders. So moving on to center attacking midfielders, and this is where I think after Zlatan, this guy is their best player on the pitch, and he has been tremendous from. And this is Hakan Çalhanoğlu, and you should watch his game. For me, the three best players as of now in Milan, I think I rank him second. I think only Zlatan is a bit higher than him, and the understanding he has with Zlatan is brilliant. They link up perfectly, and he is the main provider to Zlatan. So other than that, again, Brahim Diaz can again play as a backup to Hakan Çalhanoğlu, and there's this guy called Krunic also. So moving up to striker, obviously it is Zlatan Ibrahimovic who is going to start again. And as a future backup, they have Rafael Leao. Rafael Leao can play as a striker as well. And he has started a few games in the Europa League, and he has come on sub after, I think, after Zlatan is subbed out or something. He has come on as a sub. And other one is not so famous. Even the name is famous, but he is not so much famous. Daniel Maldini, I think son of the great Paolo Maldini or something. So he's a striker, and he is the third option. Not burst into a scene. There have been reports like he's a decent player, but he's a good as a backup as of now. So I think that pretty much sums up my 11 for AC Milan. Any other points you want to add?
Yeah, there's nothing I want to add. I just want to see the Maldini name live on for a very, very, very long time. I hope this dynasty continues. And I think that brings an end to our episode. Thank you for watching. This is for all the Zlatan fans. We're doing this for you, exclusively for you. Please watch, please share, please comment. We love to watch and listen, reply to your comments, but we get very less of them. So whatever comments we get, we do reply to them. And thank you for watching. This is bye.
Okay guys, thank you for watching.